Good afternoon, Jason.
Hey, how are you, Travis?
Fantastic. Here we are with our latest episode of the Agent's Playbook. And today we wanted to talk about thriving in 25.
Yes, and the best way to thrive in 25 is
Got a list to last. You know when I learned that phrase?
when?
A little over 25 years ago when I got in this business.
25 years. That
It's the oldest adage and the truest.
it is the truest. So, I mean, for the agents that are watching this, that are building their business, I mean, obviously everyone kind of thinks, oh, I want to be a great listing agent. I mean, historically, agents will kind of start as a buyer's agent or, kind of work their way in and then they get their first listing after working with buyers. But in the environment that we're in right now with all of the ebbs and flows and changes to the buyer broker contracts and things, it's more important than ever to really be a lead listing agent.
100%. Yeah, we recently did a video on the erosion of buyers' commissions. We're not seeing that on the listing side.
No, we're not.
You know, it's the same game. The listing side hasn't changed a whole lot. As a matter of fact, I think maybe sellers are even seeing more value in their listing agent because really the listing agents have had to up their game. I mean, how much has changed in 25 years? Gosh, 25 years ago,
Right.
we never even knew what staging a house was. We're like,
Absolutely.
staging? What are you talking about? And now it's an integral part of really maximizing the value of a sale of a home. So, yeah, being on that listing side, million reasons to be there.
Yeah, so a couple of the reasons, like you said, there are a million reasons to be on the listing side. From a business model perspective, as a professional and as an agent, some of the reasons you'd want to be on the listing side are that listing's out there marketing for you.
It's a machine.
For a future business, right? So it's syndicated to all the sites. It's gonna drive traffic to you directly. You know, one of the things we do here at Remax is we're really promoting our agents and their business. So when you have a listing here at Remax, boom, every lead, every contact that comes through on that property goes direct to you.
Yeah, and they say, right, every time you get a listing, if you do it right, you've
Right.
got to have a system, you've got to be doing the work. It's a lot of work, but you should be picking up a buyer or two at the open houses or sign calls, and you should have someone in the neighborhood contacting you about, hey, we see you have this listing, we've been thinking
Right.
about listing, can you come talk to us about it? So yeah, it is just a machine there that helps build your business. You know, buyers are great. You can certainly promote those, especially today with social
Absolutely.
media and everything, and that's helpful. But it's not the machine that a listing is. The only difference is, and what makes it a challenge for so many agents to really become that great listing agent, is you've got to be a long-term thinker and be able to plan it, right? You don't generally pick up a seller the same way you do a buyer.
Right.
So you
So-
have to have a plan for marketing to those people to get those opportunities.
Yeah. So what would be some things that you've seen work in your career in the industry with some of our top agents? I mean, we've got some tremendous agents in our company.
Well, it's going to get old. Everyone knows I'm going to say it, but geographical farming. I always say 9 out of our top 10 agents, every time we do a top 10, have some base in geographical farming.
Right.
Some of those are literally door to door. Some of those would rather chew glass than knock on a door or even maybe disperse materials in a
Right.
neighborhood. Some neighborhoods, you can't disperse materials because the neighborhood as a whole kind of have this unspoken policy that you don't do it. And if you do it, you're going to be blackballed from it. So you got to be careful. There are others that just literally geographically farm through social media.
Right.
They find a way to hit that target and really be visible. But I mean, that's just the bread and butter way of getting listings.
Right. Well, for sure, brand recognition over time, what do we see about 12 to 18 months of really being in a market before you start to really see those results? Because
Yep.
it takes a bit of time to do that.
Sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes one comes out. There's a little bit of luck. There's a little bit of hard work.
Right.
But if you're honest about what you're doing, you have a plan, you're being consistent, it's going to come around. You're going to have some opportunities.
And one other tip that's really great, and we've actually seen some agents here really take advantage of this, because obviously with the number of listings being reduced and the competition being greater, we'll see agents that are in a market that aren't normally in that market.
Yeah, so that's when I always speak to listing agents, especially hated, or geographical farmers. Like, who is this person in my farm? I've never even heard of them.
Right.
My God, they're from Yorba Linda or something. And they hate to hear it, but I always say that's somebody who's taking real good care of their sphere of influence.
Yes,
And that's the second pool,
Right.
in my mind, is to who to take care of, become a great listing agent.
Well, and to add to that too, if you have somebody that has a listing in your farm and they're an out of area agent, pick up the phone, offer to host an open house. I can't tell you, I can name 3 agents in our company, and I can name 2 that are outside that have called me personally, and they're like, hey, that's my farm area. I'm in there all the time. I know that market better than anybody. I know you're over an hour away. Can I do the open house?
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of ways to strategically position yourself, even if you're growing into being a dynamic listing agent and haven't necessarily arrived at that status yet.
Yeah, and that's a great one. I mean, open houses are great for picking up buyers, but for me as a geographical farmer, I always found it as an opportunity to interview.
Right.
And so this is what I look like. Actually, back then I actually wore ties too. I would always wear that to my open houses because I knew that people would come in. They wouldn't say a word to me, but I knew they were looking. They wanted
Right.
to see how I talked, what I said, how did I
Absolutely.
present the house, what do my marketing materials look like. So to have those open houses in your geographical farms, doubly a benefit if you're the listing agent in the area, but even just as a buyer's agent, if you present yourself right and professionally,
Right.
people are there interviewing and you're going to get opportunities.
Love it. Any other thoughts before we wrap up?
Not really, but adage is true today as it was over 25 years ago. Got a list to last, so figure out a way to get in front of those sellers and get that business because that's the most consistent, profitable business, part of the business.
For sure. Well, thanks for joining Travis and I for this edition of the Agent Playbook, and stay tuned for our next episode.
See you then.